Hello, how are you, Evelyn? Is everything okay?
Hello, teacher. Good afternoon. Um, I I am fine.
Hel- Evelyn, and can you hear me well, Evelyn? I think the connection is not that well.
Not very well. Mm, so. Um, hello. Oh, oh. I am a little sick. I'm a little sick. Please tell me. Uh, no problem, teacher.
All right, thanks for waiting, Evelyn. Can you hear me?
Hi, teacher. Sí. Yes.
Great. Okay, that's good. Sorry, I don't know what happened. You just joined the meeting and my connection just disconnected.
Hello. Mm, teacher. Um, mm, I believe the connection is bad again. Hello. Hi, teacher.
Hello, Evelyn. It happened again. I don't know what's happening with my connection. I hope that I can do it now. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Don't worry, teacher.
All right. Yes, thank you. I don't know. It's weird because it just disconnects out of nowhere. I don't know what's happening, Evelyn, but let's try, please. All right. Let's take advantage of this time. We're going to read this article today, Evelyn. Okay. So let's start, please, reading this headline to start.
Okay. How our brains cope with speaking more than one language.
Okay, thank you very much. So again, I hope I can be here. I can listen to what you're saying, but I can listen to that very laggy, and I think it's because of my connection, Evelyn. But let me know. I'm going to ask you a question here, but do you understand this headline? Do you know what the article is going to be, Evelyn?
Um, maybe that this article talk about uh, how our brains face faced um, with other language, uh, for example, grammatically. Um,
All right. Good. And what do you mean? Remember, okay, just two details there before continuing. I think it's good what you're saying and it's correct. Great. So instead of this article, remember if you say talk, talk is first person or base form. It's better if you say talks, right? This article talks about, but even better, okay, even better than saying this article talk or talks would be better there. You can say it is mentioned that, all right, it's like se menciona, it's better, all right? It is mentioned that, or it is said that, like this. I'm going to write it in the chat. Okay, it is mentioned that, or it is said that. Or remember, if you want to say this article, then you need to use the third person. It talks about or mentions, right? This article mentions that. All right, that's the first one. Then another one that is very, very little, Evelyn. Remember, if you say other, you need to say plural, right? So it's going to be languages. Or if you want to mention just one, you can say another language. All right, let's repeat what we have in the chat, please, Evelyn, to practice. First, it is mentioned that.
Okay. This article mentions that
Okay,
how
good. And before, sorry, Evelyn, before in the chat we have one, two, three, four, and five, and six expressions. Let's repeat first these expressions, please. Only let's repeat and read these expressions. First, it says, "It is mentioned that." Let's repeat that expression, please.
it is mentioned that it is
Exactly.
said,
Okay, that's passive voice. If you don't want to mention the article, good. Continue, please.
uh, it is mentioned. Sorry, teacher.
Yes, mentioned. It's just like and after the end you say that okay, mentioned that it is mentioned that. Go ahead, please.
It is mentioned that it is said that this article talks about talks about this article mentions that other language another language.
Okay, good. But remember, just one. Remember, as order is for plural. This is not going to be language. This is going to be languages. Okay, with just at the end because it's plural. Okay, so let's repeat that one, please. Other languages.
Other languages.
Languages. Great. Okay, very good. Just that one. So good. And you mentioned here a very interesting word, face. It is correct. Good. So perhaps we're going to see how our brains deal, right, with situations as learning or speaking different languages. Right? For example, if you speak Spanish and you learn English, that's another language, and your brain copes with that situation, right? Faces that situation, deals with that situation. Okay, but to be sure that this is clear, Evelyn, please, let's do the following. Let's use cope with in a sentence. How can you use cope with in any sentence, in any example, Evelyn? What do you say?
Uh, could you repeat the question, please, teacher?
Yes, of course. This expression, right? Cope with. Do you understand this expression, Evelyn? Do you know the exact meaning or how to use it in a sentence?
Um, I think that the cope with uh, can be faced.
Okay, yes, in present, right? In base form, a face, to face something. Face, good, or deal with, right? And you face, deal with, or cope with difficult situations, all right? Difficult situations, or you deal, cope with problems. Okay, so you usually cope with negative things. You cope with difficult things. All right, and it's a verb, right? I cope with, you cope with. So what example, this is the requirement then, Evelyn. What example can you give me using cope with?
Mm, uh, can be my mom cope with multitask and cope with to do multitask.
All right, there, remember, as you're talking about your mom, it's third person, so cope, it's going to be copes, right?
Cope.
Third person.
Sorry,
Great.
teacher.
So, and after with the rule, remember the gerunds. I think we covered gerunds. After a prepositions, you have to use the gerund. That is the verb with ing. So you can say, my mom copes with doing multitasking. Okay, with doing, because after prepositions we always use gerund. Okay, and then after that you say multitasking, because that's the way in which you talk about doing different tasks at the same time. Okay, but it's a great example. Let's repeat it with those details, please. Sorry, Evelyn.
My mom copes with doing multitask.
Good. And remember, it's going to be with multitasking because that's the action. Okay, it's an activity. Multitask is like only the name you give to that. But if you want to talk about the activity of doing many tasks, it also has to be with ing. Okay, so it's going to be with doing multitasking. Okay, so one more time, please, with that last detail.
Okay. My mom copes with doing multitasking.
Okay, great. Very good. Very good. So I think it's done. We're going to go to the next part, but I want to know if you have questions about this first part, Evelyn.
Mm, no, teacher.
All right, let's keep going then, please. This is going to be the second part. Evelyn, this one over here. Let's read that out, please.
Speaking a second or even a third language can bring obvious advantages, but occasionally the words, grammar, and even accent can get mixed up. This can reveal surprising things about how our brains work.
All right, very good. So, before going to those words, Evelyn, how can you explain this paragraph using your own words? Let's try to do it, please. Explain what you understood from this paragraph.
Okay, this paragraph mentions that the advantage how advantage the the speaking other language, second or third language, uh, but can mm, can mm, sometimes the words is different in the grammar. Um, maybe for cultural or accent is different, can means other thing in this country, in this world can be other means in another country.
All right, good. Let's dip that a little bit, Evelyn. Okay. For example, what is to mix up something? Let's try to understand that by giving one example. What example can you give me, Evelyn, when you mix up accents or grammar? For example, in Spanish and English. Right now that you're learning or improving your English, what examples can you give me? And it happens to everyone, right? But what happens to you, for example, Evelyn? Do you think that you mix accents, the Spanish accent with the English accent that you need? Do you think that you mix grammar, the Spanish grammar with the English grammar, right? That you mix those? What do you think? Do you think that you do it? And how do you think you do it?
I think that the Latinos mixed up, mixed, mixed up uh, some words. For example, short uh, is applause, but sometimes we say short or futsal can be.
All right, yes, we're getting close to that one. It is correct. But for example, in terms of accent, right? Which one do you believe is a good accent and a bad accent? Okay, I'm going to tell you. Modern accent, it can be, of course, pronunciation. But if I say comfortable, right, or comfortable, and then I say comfortable, which one do you think is better? right? Which one is the English accent and which one is the Spanish accent?
Mm, mm. It's different in the accent.
Correct. And which one do you think it's then correct? Because I mean, of course, both are going to be correct, but the accent is different, right? So which one would be better? Comfortable or comfortable?
Comfortable.
Comfortable, right? Good. Then in grammar, this is a mistake that many people do when they learn English and they speak Spanish. For example, which one is correct, Evelyn? I agree with you or I am agree with you.
I I agree with you. Is correct. Correct. I agree. No, no, I am agree.
Correct. Exactly. Very good, right? Exactly. Right? So you don't say, and sorry again because of my connection, Evelyn, can you hear me?
And sometimes, but I got you.
Okay, good. So then you know that that is a mistake. That's a mix-up in grammar.
I don't, I don't, I, I don't hear you.
That's to mix up your grammar, your agree, right? And that's incorrect, right? So that's a mixed up also in accent, right? When you say again comfortable, when you say things like student, right? Student, that u is like the Spanish u, right? But you have to say student, right? And comfortable, right? So those are details, but good. That's great. Now, to finish now, to try to finish now, Evelyn, let's repeat these words over here, please. This is even.
Even.
Good. This, be careful with that one. You're not going to pronounce the T, okay? There's advane. This is in plural, so remember, if you see plural, it's not only j, it's jes. So, advantages. Advantages. Let's repeat that one, please.
Advantage. Uh, could you repeat, please, teacher, the word?
Yes, yes. Remember, no T. Don't say the T. Advantages. Advantages.
Advantages. Advantages. Advantages.
Great.
Advantages.
And of course, you say that a little bit longer, right? Very good. Advantages. This one, and what is the opposite of advantages? Disadvantages, right? So learning a second language has advantages and disadvantages. These are the disadvantages, right? The grammar and accents when you mix them up. This one, Evelyn, is going to be A, so it's occasionally.
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 Very good. And finally, this is like k, so it's going to be accents. Accents. Let's repeat that one, please.
Accents. Accents.
Good. Very good. All right. So again, before finishing, I have just one more question, but do you have any questions about these words, Evelyn? Let me know, please.
Not teacher. It's clear.
Okay, good. Now, the last question for you, please, and the last requirement, Evelyn, is to explain this word. Here, you use ed, Evelyn, because this is in passive voice. Okay, so this is in past participle, can get mixed up. But you can use this, of course, in active voice. For example, I mix up what? Grammar when I speak, right? You don't say the ed, right? You say I mix up the grammar when I speak. But you can say my grammar gets mixed up when I speak, right? So the ed is for passive voice. Okay, that's something I mentioned because I want you to try to explain and give me one example to finish, please, Evelyn. How do you explain the word mix up? And what example can you give me?
Stop. Mm, um, maybe when the the woman uh, go go woman is going to is going to shop, is going to buy some clothes. Normally, she mix up some clothes, dress, and shirt, maybe.
Okay, that's possible, but there's only one detail. Remember, if you're talking about a woman, if it's third person, what is the correct conjugation with mix? Remember, every verb has to be conjugated in the third person when it's present.
Um, are
But it's singular, right? So no, with this verb, mix. How do you conjugate mix up with third person?
mix up. Mix mixes up.
Correct. Exactly. That's very, very important. All right. Good. So yes, when a woman, right, goes shopping, right, sometimes that woman mixes up, right, the clothes and so on. And it's not bad. All right. But remember, mainly you're going to use mix up things. Evelyn, when you are doing that, perhaps not on purpose, okay, not on purpose. It's something that happens without any intention. Okay, so for example, by mistake, you mixed up the, I don't know, right, the assignments. Okay, by mistake, you mixed up the grammar when you were speaking English and Spanish, right? By mistake, you mixed up, and of course I'm using that in past, right? You mixed up, I don't know, right? The word, right? So to mix up, or to yes, to mix up in this case is to yes, to combine things, but in an expected way, or mainly when you didn't want to do it. All right, just that one. I don't know if you have any final questions to finish now, Evelyn. Let me know, please.
Mm, mm, this word mix up uh, can mm, can can I use ing in this word?
Yes, you can use it. So you can say, for example, I was mixing up, right, the ideas when I was, or as I was speaking. Okay, so I was mixing up the ideas as I was speaking. It means that at the same time that you were speaking, you were mixing up some ideas and you got confused. All right, because you mixed up everything. And again, at that moment, you can say that you were mixing up those ideas. All right, so it's possible to use it with ing, and it can be in present, in past, in future. It can be simple and it can be continuous.
Okay.
All
Thank you,
right.
teacher.
Okay, good. There you go. So again, thanks for waiting and for your patience, Evelyn. I know it was we wasted a lot of time, but we could have the conversation, and that's the most important part. Okay, so thanks again for waiting and for having this conversation with me. As always, I'm going to share the survey, please, Evelyn. There you go. And when you answer the questions, you can leave the conversation. All right. Thanks again. Have a good night. And I'll see you tomorrow in class.
Okay. Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, Evelyn. Good night.
Good night, teacher. See you tomorrow.
See you.